All right. So first thing is, what I'll do for you today is I will give you a piece of scrap paper. All right. We just use this for like a palette on which to mix our paints. At the end of class, you throw this away. Every table has a black paint bottle and a white paint bottle. All right. This is acrylic. It stains on your clothing. So you want to make sure that your sleeves are rolled up and that you have like all of your stuff off of the table, because it will ruin your stuff. When you're squeezing your paint out, here, I'll do this under here, like a dime size amount, all right? Once we get it out of the bottle, we can't put it back. So we're really trying to not like waste a whole bunch of paint, okay? You don't need a lot for like one class period. So that's about, what we need. When I'm mixing my colors, here, I'll put this up here. I'm going to do I'm going to do the bottom block in my drawing. So I'm going to work onto this space right here. All right, so when I mix my colors, other thing you really need, you need paper towels. Because you always want to be drying your brush. All right, so when I mix my colors, I'm going to pull a little bit of white off to the side, and I'm going to pull a little bit of black into my white. I don't want to contaminate all my white or all my black, right? Because then I've only stuck with that one shade of gray. Right? I want to be able to keep my original white and black kind of clean. Right, so I'm going to just mix them off to the side. Move this out of the way. All right, I'm going to start to paint my block. So right here. So this is pretty light. I probably want to go darker next time, but this is just kind of the first layer. The nice thing about acrylic is that if you make a mistake, it'll cover up, you can paint over it the next day and it will cover up whatever mistake that you made. Like this right here, I went off the edge too much. I don't like that, so I'm going to cover that up another time. All right, so if there's ever an area that you're just like really unhappy with, just let it dry that day and then you can come in and fix it the next day. All right. I was working on my pyramid in the last group, so I'm going to go back and do that. So mix up a little bit of a darker gray. All right, if something is white in your painting, you need to paint it white. All right, we're not going to just let it be the canvas because that's going to look really messy. So this side of my block is white. I'm going to give it an initial white coat of paint. Right, and then there's this shadow here, this shadow that's showing on my block. So I'm going to mix up a gray. And to get the shading done, it's going to be way easier to do it when your paint is wet. Okay, so I'm going to have this shadow kind of start to form of where my sphere shadow is going to be. Fill that in. But I want to soften that edge. So I'm going to clean my brush off, dry it, and then just kind of blend that out. All right, you see that? How I can kind of like get a nicer blend if I have a clean, damp brush. All right, this is going to be a little bit darker down here. And then the same thing. I'm going to start to blend that dark part up into my shadow. All right, so it's really, you're using like kind of the empty brush with no paint on it, just as much as you're using the brush with paint on it. All right, for the background, it's going to be pretty much a flat black, but you need a couple coats. So this was a coat that I did earlier today, and you can see it's a little streaky, so you definitely want to go over that again. All right, if you want to start with your background today, because people are kind of like, well, it's easy, it's black, that's fine, but just know that you probably will have to go over it a second time. All right, when I did my original painting, I had to do the background 3 times to get it that dark. All right, you don't want it to look streaky, you want it to look like a nice, deep, dark background. All right, you're going to have 2 brush sizes to work with. All right, kind of like a smaller size brush and then a larger size brush. It'll be up to you to decide what works best for you. Some people can do the whole thing with a large brush. Some people want to use a small brush for everything. it's really a personal preference. I would recommend to have both with you at both times, and then you can always like decide like, oh, I don't need my big brush today, all right, but and at least you have it. For something like the sphere, or not the sphere, sorry, the cylinder, I would do my dark side first, like kind of in here. And then I would take my white and start to blend that out. And the sphere is like a round object, like a can of soda or, you know, like a can of beans. So you want to work horizontally across the can to kind of give it that sense of like roundness. All right, if you paint it up and down, it's going to look more like a pole, and you want it to kind of have that idea of a cylinder. All right, even my brush strokes, I'm kind of, you know, making that like slightly curved so it shows that curve in there. I'm going to blend that out. And then I can go back in there with some more dark. All right, so I'm working horizontally to kind of still convey that idea of like a round object. All right, so, and I would work on that more because I want more light in the right side area. All right, but that's just kind of just like to get you started so you can begin, you know, understanding about the mixing. So this is what my palette looks like at the end. Right, I still have my black, I still have my white, but you can see all my shades of gray that I've kind of mixed off to the side. So your paints shouldn't be completely mixed up at the end of class. You should have kind of like little areas mixed together. All right, so let me stop this.